Okay, so in this video we're going to look at how to apply the Pythagorean theorem to a right angle triangle. So the first thing we need to make sure we locate on our triangle is where the hypotenuse is. So you want to locate the 90-degree angle. The 90-degree angle is going to be where that square symbol is in the corner. Pretty much like on any square surface you have, a desk, a door, the floor, anything like that. The side opposite that square 90-degree angle, that side right there, is what we call the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is going to be the longest side in the triangle, in the right angle triangle. So you can see here I've got some dimensions. I'm not going to worry about what the units are here. You can see here I've got that my hypotenuse is 10, and these other two sides are 6 and 8 in length. So the Pythagorean theorem says if you were to take the hypotenuse, so I'm going to take that 10, and you were to square it, so raise it to the exponent 2, that value is going to equal the other two sides, so the 6 raised to the exponent 2 plus the 8 raised to the exponent 2. So we can work this out to see if it's true. So 10 to the exponent 2 is going to be 10 times 10 is 100. 6 to the exponent 2 is going to be 6 times 6 is 36. And 8 to the exponent 2 is going to be 8 times 8 is 64. And you can see here when I add 36 and 64 that this is indeed true. So that is going to happen for every right angle triangle. And again, the right angle triangle has a 90-degree angle. So if we look down here to these two examples, you can see here I've got this right angle triangle, but I do not have a length on my hypotenuse. So I'm going to put a variable. You can put any variable you want. I'm going to use x. Now that is the hypotenuse because that side is opposite the right angle. So I'm going to apply that Pythagorean theorem. I'm going to say that x to the exponent 2, so I'm trying to figure out what that is. It's going to be equal to 5 to the exponent 2 plus 12 to the exponent 2. So now I'm going to work this out. 5 to the exponent 2 is going to be 25. And 12 to the exponent 2 is going to be 144. I'm going to add these together. So now you don't want to guess what to the exponent 2 is 169. You want to find that square root button on your calculator. And your value of x is going to end up being the square root of 169. So we're going to get 13 for that one. So I'm going to go back up here to my triangle, and I'm going to add in 13. And you can see that 13 is bigger than 5 and 12. So it looks like we did everything right because that hypotenuse has to be the longest side. Now we got to be careful because we have an example like this one here. Notice I do not know the length of this side here. I'm going to put another variable here. I'm going to put x. But we need to be careful because in this one, the hypotenuse is actually given. There's my right angle. So my hypotenuse there is 8. So remember, it's very important that we raise the hypotenuse to exponent 2 and write that first. It's the square of the hypotenuse. So we have to write 8 squared equals the other two sides squared and added. Now I don't know that one side, so that's going to be x squared for now. I do know the one side 3. So we're going to work it out similarly to the prior example. So 8 squared is 64. And I can do 3 squared, which is 9. What I want to do is I want to isolate that x to the exponent 2. So if I have plus 9 there, I'm going to take it away, but I need to balance that out. So now I've got 64 take away 9 is 55. So you can see here now I've got 55 equals x squared, and I can just flip that. It's the same thing if I say x squared is 55. Find that square root button on my calculator. And that one's going to work out to 7.4. So again, we can see here that 8 is the hypotenuse and it's still the longest side. So we need to be careful. What I'm going to write down here, I'm going to write down the common mistake that is made with examples like that where the hypotenuse is given. So what I'm writing in red is wrong. So you might be tempted to start it out like this. See, this is wrong because 8's the hypotenuse. We know the hypotenuse. So we don't always have to calculate the hypotenuse. Sometimes the hypotenuse is given. So we want to make sure that we set it up correctly. You always have to write the hypotenuse squared first on the left side.